There we go. Well, good morning, everybody. It's Andrew Jenkins here, and yeah, Leaders Live. Wow, fantastic. Here we go. Our 100th show, folks, today, and that's where we're heading today. So, oops, wrong scene there. Well, that was quite appropriate, wasn't it? So, there we go. So, yeah, our 100th show. Wow, and we're thrilled this morning to be on live this morning, and we hope we are on live, by the way. And I'm Andrew Jenkins. This is a short countdown timer to help the various feeds catch up and settle down. And we're, as I said, marking our 100th monumental show, and we're thrilled with our lineup of regular Hangout guests this morning, folks. I'm just checking whether the feed is coming up. Yeah, so we've got Ciaran O'Donnell, Virtual Finance Director. Yep, we're on. And Own Your Own Numbers. And we've got Rebecca Jenkins, Revenue Accelerator Expert, all-round great lady and founder of RJEN. We've got Dr. Iain Price. We've got a doctor in the room today, and the doctor in the house, founder and director of Think It Out. And he speaks with coaches and executives yeah, does all sorts of things on the neuroscience front. And that's not all, because we've got Andy Gray in the background, as you can see. And Andy is our live illustrator this morning. Give us a quick wave, Andy. He'll give us a quick wave in a moment, so I'm sure he will. So he's busy drawing. So, yeah, that's the team today. We've got Sarah, Mrs. Moderator. We've got Rebecca. We've got Ciaran. We've got Ian, Andy Gray in the background, Tilly and Davis from Marketing CX doing all the comments for us this morning. And Ghost, our sponsors. There's the team. Phew! Boom. I hope you like that groovy build-up. And oi, oi, people and hi, gang. It's Leaders Live time, showtime, folks. A warm welcome to you. And it's just after 8:45 a.m. here in the UK. And as I said, we are celebrating our 100th show this morning. So we are dead excited. And let me just do the fireworks scene. How about this then? Way! Took me ages to do the graphics for this, he says. And... so yeah, we've got a great lineup today. As you can see, this is our panel today. We've got a breakfast show format today, very new. So if you're new to Leaders Live, warm welcome to you all. For those of you that are new to the show, it's a dynamic weekly talk show that generates business through networking and through community and through extraordinary conversations. Yeah, that inspire. And our motto here is I to the power of we. And don't we just love it? And so please don't be shy. Introduce yourself to us so we know who you are. Listening to the show, that would be great for us. I'll just put us on live so I know that we're actually there, which we are, I think. Yes, we are live. Brilliant. Okay, so we're live. Brilliant. And yeah, so please don't be shy. Let us know you're listening and watching today. And use the chat function, please. As normal, there's a lot of interaction on the chat feed, so that's how we roll. And we've got 3 simple rules as well, which is dead simple. It's a safe community, which we're talking about today. Mutual respect, no selling in the room, please. And as I said, our motto is I to the power of we. And we have this little thing called buymeacoffee.com. So if you want to just say thank you for this show and all the effort we put into it, and we do put a lot of effort into making this show right for you guys, you can buymeacoffee.com /leaderslive. And if you buy me 5, you get a free session, folks. And it looks something like this if I can make it work. So we were joking about this earlier. So there it is. And get your name up in lights. So there we are. So yeah, it's just a bit of fun and introduced just a little bit of humour into our show. And smash those likes as well, folks. That would be helpful for us. Love this little bell. Ding! That keeps us motivated. And yeah, so please subscribe to our show as well. This is really important for us to build the show. You get freebies and you get value about how to equip you to lead well and updates and all of those things. So that's on our link tree that Tilly's just put in the feed. And yeah, so phew, put it all together. What have you got? Bibbidi, bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. We love that. And Ian's rocking to that already. So let's bring in our side-by-side all guests scene here. Look at this, that we've just built this here. So yeah, there we go. And yeah, hello, everybody. How are we all doing?
Good morning.
Hey, Andrew.
How are you?
Yes.
Hi, Andrew.
How are we doing?
We're doing all right. And we've got Andy Gray in the background. We just put Andy on mute for now because his pens are rather loud. So, but you can see he's
As is
busy
his
drawing in the
shirt.
background, as is his shirt, which we're loving, by the way. So I hope you love his shirt. Yep, so that's all happening right now, folks. And yeah, our theme today is know, like, and trust. We're talking about that today, and how to build community in rapidly changing times. And Iain, give us some direction of travel. Where we're heading today? Kick us off.
I thank you so much. I think one of the things today is about celebrating 100 shows.
Yeah.
100 shows, Andrew, and I feel humbled to be the first person that we tried this with back in, when we were on Facebook days and going
back in the days.
Yeah,
we were like that. We were trying to work out Facebook.
Couldn't get the camera from being on the side, and look at where we've come to. So I think this is for me and for us in the room. It's about celebrating, saying well done, Andrew, and thank you for building this community that we have become part of. And it's definitely, like attracts like, and those people that we have chats with outside of the room and inside of the room, that's very much come down to you. So that's part of what I think today's about. And the other part then is to really explore the basis of really community and what is that, and what's the point of it? How does that matter to you in terms of you finding a job, keeping people in a job, selling to people, being authentic, having more life, basically. And it really comes down to these 3 words: know, like, trust.
Wow.
And Andy brilliantly, I mean, we're watching Andy, I think was it last week or the week before, talking about how to do the sort of this amazing artwork. So that's what, if you don't know what Andy's doing, that's what he's doing. He's also a real Rev. We call them the
very Reverend.
And just before we came on, Keir was talking about how you can have a very Rev and not very major, for instance, in the army, which I thought was brilliant. So that's kind of the direction of travel is, to really partly celebrate, partly to explore what community is, and looking at the building blocks of that in the sort of guise or framework of know, like, trust. We might even go to know, love, trust.
Yeah, we love that word.
And again, we just having all these amazing people in the room to have that conversation with, and to really explore it together. People is to explore it together. So again, as Andrew said, do use the chat function. We've got fantastic Sarah, who's brilliantly going to be moderating us. I suspect the problem today is going to keep us quiet because we all want to be a part of having this celebration and exploring.
Don't we just? I've just found this screen as well.
So that's where we're going. And I think we're going to kick off. I think the real idea is to sort of really help you, Andrew, by asking you questions. And I think Rebecca's got a question.
Yeah, she has. And just before we get to that, it's got an audience question as well, Iain. So let me just bring that up quickly. Where is it? Where are we? We're all guests. Here we go. Is that the one I want? I've got so many scenes here. I don't know what to do with them. That's the one I wanted. So this is our 100th show, as you know. So how did you find out about Leaders Live in the first place? So way back, 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago now, 2 years, 1 month ago. How did you find out about Leaders Live? That's the first question. And then the supplementary question is, on the subject of know, like, and trust, or know, love, and trust, what makes you tune in every week, folks? So there's our 2 questions, and I think that might deserve an ooh. So there's a delay in the feed, folks. I just love that. Delay in the feed. Let's just bring Mrs. Moderator up, and this is our whole scene here. Look at that. Hey, how you doing, Mrs. Moderator? Sarah Jenkins in the room.
I'm doing really well. So the feed is going mad, which is brilliant. Lots of new names that I'm not seeing. So good morning, Marianne Whitlock, Sarah Howson.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing?
Lovely to see some of our regulars as well. But I thought, so don't be offended if I don't shout you out, but I thought I'd shout out the new people. But while the feed's catching up, Andrew's asked some of our long-standing members of the community just to say a few words. So I think he's put together a little video montage.
He has.
So
Let me
think that you are going to play it now.
Let me play this now. So this is just some of the feedback from our regular guests who started the show with us, and I just wanted to honour, those first people really, and it's grown since then. But here's what they have to say about the show 2 years and 1 month on. So here we go. Hopefully you can see this.
Hi Andrew, It's Maria Jeffers. I'm working as a mindset coach. My favourite thing about your Leaders Live show is the compassion that everyone shows for one another. That, coupled with the sense of humour we all have, means that the show always puts a smile on my face. Congratulations on your 100th episode.
Lovely.
Hello, Andrew. Congratulations with the 100th Leaders Live. My name is Jonas Krav Thompson, and I'm working as an international business developer / innovation consultant, and I am an accomplished exoskeleton test pilot. My favorite thing about Leaders Live is the band of the fantastic people and the loving network. It really, really is a fantastic network and a fantastic community. So thank you, Andrew.
Hi there, Andrew. My name's Paul Winfield. I'm an independent health and lifestyle coach within the UK. Great thing about Leaders Live, inclusivity. You've built a solid community and you make everybody feel part of that. Well done. Here's to the next 100. Thank you.
Hi Andrew, my name is Matthias. I'm a social entrepreneur. The best thing about Leaders Live is the fantastic, uplifting community, the enthusiastic participants, and the magnificent opportunities to learn something new every single week.
Brilliant.
Hi guys, I hope you're well. It's Jo Keep here, working in the print industry. Met some inspirational people, learned some great ideas, and totally enjoyed it. Look forward to the next 2.5 years and more in the future. Take care.
Hi, my name's Elaine Godley, and I work with accountants and lawyers to help them with their team functionality and particularly their health and well-being. I like Leaders Live because you never know who's going to be on the call, not just the people who are interviewed, but also making comments, and I've made some really nice connections with really high quality people who support Andrew Jenkins and Leaders Live. Love it, love it, love it.
Hi Andrew, it's Lori Hales from Professional X. I love Leaders Live because of the camaraderie of the small community and the information that we get. Keep going.
Hi Andrew, so I am Cecile, well-being and personal development coach, and I would like first to congratulate you on your Leaders Live production and your 100th session. So thank you very much for those. They are really, I'm trying to find the right words, but enjoyable. I really enjoy learning new knowledge at work. So that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much to the team. Thanks, Andrew.
Hi guys, it's David Pantangeli Fenton, iSmart Business Solutions. My favourite thing about the show Leaders Live is the network, the sharing, the banter, and the positive looking out and sharing in life. Be blessed, guys. Congratulations. Keep growing and keep going.
There we go. Brilliant. So, yeah, how about that then, eh? That's brilliant, isn't it? Fantastic. Love that little video. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that. Sarah, what's going on the feed? Let's just catch up with the feed.
Lots of things. John Attridge made a really good point, and so I'm going to push this one. He said he found it on LinkedIn in a link, which is great to know. A lot of people, I think everybody so far has said they found it on LinkedIn, so it's really good to know that it's working.
Yeah.
But what John said, the better question would be what motivated people to tune in.
Oh, there we go.
That one.
Yeah,
so
we like that, John.
Don't be shy, please answer the question.
John always comes up with an alternative question, which is even more betterer, right?
But it's great.
Fantastic.
Here we go. So Adrian Chase, everybody's made to feel so welcome.
Yeah.
I think most people listening are quite happy to make a comment, and it leads to some great discussions. And you acknowledge when people make comments, and we love that because caring is sharing.
There we go. Caring is sharing.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, we love that too. Thanks, Adrian.
So yeah, really interested to find out what motivates people to keep tuning in every week.
Brilliant question. Right. Okay. Anything else, Sarah, or should we get on? Okay. So let's crack on. So we're going to crack on now. I love that, crack on. So we're going to come to Rebecca. So Rebecca, take us away.
Andrew, I mean, those words that people were sharing is really amazing. And I come to the show every week for a sense of a dose of positivity and community. And I never, ever have left the show thinking that wasn't a good use of my time. There's always something that I get from it. So full credit to you and the team for making that happen. And it sets me up for the week.
Brilliant.
But what I'd really love to know, Andrew, is why did this start? How did you get this started? You know, it's your 100th show. So what made you kick off with it? What made you start it? What's the story behind it?
What's the story? Yeah. Well, actually, you know, funnily enough, we just said earlier, Dr. Iain Price, he was my first guest, and we were like this because we couldn't figure out the technology, how to turn the phones around. And we were on Facebook at that time because we couldn't get a live license. So from LinkedIn, that took a little bit of time. But in terms of history, during the pandemic, I don't know about you guys, but actually I got quite unwell. You know, one of the things that we do on this show is we talk honestly, and you know, I'm not ashamed to say that actually I felt very vulnerable after the lockdown. I mean, we had various lockdowns. I mean, I joke about it, and Iain and I have joked about this a lot. It felt like lockdown 33. You know, after lockdown 33, after 2.5 years or 2 years of lockdowns, it felt like, you know, I was not doing well actually, and you know, my mental health was suffering. I'm a big extrovert, couldn't go out, you know, masks everywhere, couldn't speak to people, you know, live. And Rebecca, I was used to doing, you know, 3 times a week, big audiences, you know, keynote speaking. You know, I'd be speaking to 100 plus people, you know, 3 times a month or whatever. And I wasn't doing that anymore because that just finished, right? You know, as soon as the pandemic started, all that public speaking stuff just dropped off a cliff. And it's only really just starting to come back as we've now got used to Teams and things like that. So, you know, I needed to fill the gap, but the landscape had changed. You know, the world had moved on, and we're now into Teams and Zoom and stuff like that. And actually, I find that quite exhausting. I don't know about you guys, but, you know, I don't like using Teams. I mean, I'll tolerate Zoom, but I do get very tired using those kind of technologies. And then I found live streaming, you know, sort of early 21 or sort of January 21. And, you know, I said to Sarah, who's my FD, and can I invest in this kit? And she said, well, as long as it pays, you can invest in it. So she wanted to see a complete return on investment plan. So had a bit of convincing to do there. And but we bought the kit, we did the training, and so to get camera ready, in other words. And live stream is very different from anything else I'd ever come across before. And Iain and I did the first show in May 21. And bar holidays, Rebecca, you know, it's been going live every week since. And it's a free business show. You know, we build on the concept of nurturing, know, like, and trust, know, love, and trust, I to the power of we, helping business leaders to find joy, love, and freedom in what they do is really the mantra of this show. And, you know, we've had lots of diverse subjects. We talked about imposter syndrome. We talked about that this morning, that we all felt that this morning, and happy brain chemicals with Dr. Iain Price, cash flow and finance subjects with Ciaran, authentic sales with you, Rebecca. You know, you've interviewed me about high performance. We've talked about mental health, mental toughness, limiting beliefs, positive growth mindset. We talked about social selling, marketing, business branding with Ghost, our sponsors, tech stuff like cybersecurity with Owen, ChatGPT with Dr. Julian Nesbitt, and that was brilliant. Business growth, we talked about the power of storytelling, and the list goes on and on and on. So in 2.5 years, we've covered an amazing amount of business subjects, very light-hearted, but with a relevance of today's business and where we're heading in this new world in these rapidly changing times. So, and it has a compound effect, you know, and I think that's what community is all about for me, you know. So what's community all about? And know, like, and trust, it's about the compound effect. You know, it's about producing something regularly and for people then to enjoy, you know, joining in with. That's why I did it, Rebecca.
And people keep coming back. So you really are building that sense of fantastic community.
Yeah, thank you.
And the consistency of it, isn't that like 100 shows? 100
shows, yeah, nice and consistent, week in, week out, apart from holidays, you know. And yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, thank you. Is this an opportunity time to bring in Andy just for a moment and see how he's getting on? Andy, how are you getting on? Let's just bring in Andy, take him off mute for a minute. How are we doing, Andy?
We're doing all right. You're speaking nice and quick, so I'm trying to keep up.
Speaking nice and quick.
you usually speak quickly, so I'm trying to sort of like keep up on the way. But I've been doing your boxing.
You're doing your boxing, brilliant. Yeah, there we go. So you can see the building of the bridge and everything that Andy's doing there. So he's our live illustrator for the day, which is absolutely brilliant. Let's bring everybody back in. So so there we are. So
can I just say, Andrew, when you were answering Rebecca's question there, knowing you as I do, and we do, and we've got to love and know you over the years. What I love about all the different topics that you've just talked about, that's you on a plate, and I think there's something authentic about that. And again, I think we're talking today about community. You know, you've taken a place of we're both extroverts. You know, suffering to, do you know what? I'm going to give back. I want to be part of it. But it's not just a giving back as an altruism. It's I'm giving back to become part of the new way of doing something, and that spawned something else. But it's the you on the plate that I love. It's all the things that have been bouncing around in your head, you know, for such a time as this. And again, just as Rebecca was asking that question and as you're answering it, it just really stood out to me. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, thank you. It was quite instinctive, really. I just thought this show would work, you know. And Sarah came up with the title "Leaders Live," and it stuck, you know. So yeah, that's where we are. And Iain, we did this poll the other day just to kind of bring in the rest of the guys in a moment. You know, why is no like and trust or no love and trust, you know, vital for community building in today's economy? And, you know, actually, it was really hard to put this poll together because there were so many variables we could have talked about, so many options, but we came up with this. So is it about mutual support? Is it about purposeful networking? Is it about inspiring conversations? Is it about cohesion and belonging? And I think the answer is it's kind of all of those things. But, you know, I was just interested in those results. What do you think, guys? Ciaran, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I think the cohesion, belonging, it's interesting. 1 and 2 went for that. I think over a period of time, especially know, like, and trust, you've got to do something amazing to build a know, like, and trust on one interaction. But it can still plant a seed as to, oh, who's this person? What are they about? And is there a connection? It does take a bit of time. It's like any relationship. The more you nurture it, the more you turn up, the more you continue to. It's a two-way thing as well. So I think we'll talk about generosity as well, but I think your show is hugely generous. I mean, I think everyone on the feed, everyone watching, everyone that's probably maybe just watched 1 or 2 or all 100 will just understand that, generosity is a great thing. To this. And in a nice selfish way, there is a brain chemical. Iain will know the exact chemical the brain's releasing.
It's probably
but
several.
It's a bit of a selfish thing that sometimes you can hold a door open for somebody and they'll thank you. But selfishly, you're doing it for yourself because you know you're getting a bit of a kick of something because you've done it. You can do that 20 times a day. And then you can obviously build your own live show and go live weekly on LinkedIn and invite loads of people on. And also a community who maybe don't appear on your show, but still actually tune in, learn something, make a contribution, and build relationships with people.
Build relationships.
In the chat feed, which continues after the show because the algorithm will continue. Everything they put up is now on other people's feeds, and it just continues to grow and grow.
Yeah, it just keeps on giving, doesn't it? And I think it's a two-way street. I think, you know, that's the interesting thing about building community. It'd be really interesting to see what the audience have got to say as well. So chip in on this. You know, what do you think is important about know, like, and trust and building community and relationships? And, you know, it's a simple notion, right, Ciaran? But, you know, why is it so relevant to business today? Ciaran, take it away for us on
that. My quick journey, I suppose, was I qualified as an accountant. I worked for, say, 10, 12 years in the corporate space. I always thought my entire career would be applying for jobs and doing the FP And then in 2010, I was chipped by many things, but I was basically left employment and wanted to work as a portfolio finance director. And there was a quote by Seth Godin, who appears on my wall behind me. He made a quote about when you building connections. For him, there was 4 stages that really connected with me. And the first was that you have a liking for this other person. The second stage is they've got a mutual liking for you. The third stage is you can do something generous for them. Now, it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be anything, but it can play on your skill set. It can solve a problem. You can be creative. And then the fourth stage is you connect. And if you connect, that fourth stage, having gone through this mutual likeness and doing something generous, you've got such a different connection to just hitting that button. Can I add you to my professional network on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And And it changed now. I think that was probably, I don't know what Seth Godin has written more recently on know, like, and trust, but I think know, like, and trust has evolved from these things that have been around for a long time. Do something generous for somebody. There is a famous quote I always remind myself. There's the famous quote by John Wayne, which is, if you help a man when he has a problem, he'll remember you when he has another problem.
John Wayne.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but people do. So
that's brilliant. Any other thoughts, guys? Chip in.
That helping other people reminds me of our lawyer friend Tosh, who sort of talks about, he's helped us in different ways, Andrew and I, and and it's he's very much lives by, if somebody asks you a question or asks for your help, if you're not the one that can actually help them, but you can help put them in touch with somebody, absolutely, who would you come back to? As you're saying, Ciaran, like John Wayne was saying, they'll come back to you because you're part of a solution. You're invested in seeing the best outcome for that person. And I think that a really interesting thing here is, and again, we could explore it maybe, it's about, your example about holding the door open is absolutely brilliant. Who are we actually doing this for? Are we doing it for the other person by showing kindness? Are we, or is it for us? And does it matter? Because actually it is going to be reciprocal in different ways, because none of us operate in a vacuum, right?
It's a two-way street.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, two-way street.
In 2010, I had just around this time, I had a coffee with a chap an ex-colleague, for 30 minutes. For 20 minutes, he apologized. He was so busy. And he couldn't make it. So we had a 10-minute chat. Yeah. And he's been hugely successful in his career. So I had imposter syndrome, the fact that he gave me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But he got what I was doing, and he understood it, and he connected me with two incredible people. And it was just that 10 minutes started. And I joked that 15 years later, I still joke with him that I can't really, there was no invoice at the end of this meeting, and I can't really repay him for the value and impact that 10 minutes had. He doesn't really see any value in it, but the way to repay him, I guess, his generosity is to pay it forward. Paying it forward back to Iain as well. It can actually have a really positive impact on your own well-being to help other people pay forward. It doesn't have to be writing big checks. It can actually just be very simple connections, because you understand, because you know, like, I can trust somebody. There's nothing worse than doing an introduction where it's the wrong fit for the wrong person for the wrong job, the wrong advisor for the wrong company. So sometimes you have to invest in making sure that you know, like, and trust two sides of the equation to then connect them. So I think it happens every day. And I think the social tools that we use do make it even easier now to build these conversations.
Spot on.
I think
No excuse.
Rebecca is the champion of making comments on other people's posts on LinkedIn. And it just shows you that even making a small contribution to someone else's post on LinkedIn can have a real valuable impact on what that person's posted a problem. And then people are coming in with experts are coming in with questions or solutions or comments, which can just help unpick the problem for somebody. Again, it just shows you in an instant the know, like, and trust indicator is just going up as a result of a simple interaction.
A simple interaction. And Rebecca, you are brilliant at those things. What say you, Rebecca? And we'll come to the comments in a moment.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. But I think it's a case of you put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Spot on.
And we've
Lovely.
all been there, haven't we? When you do a post and you don't get much engagement, and you've put your heart into that post. Yeah. And you just, it's great. So if we can just give back to others in a very simple way, just by saying, I was really moved by that post, or congratulations, but more than congratulations, how did that feel? What was that like? How amazing. And I think it's these random acts of kindness which we can all help to build that sense of know, like, and trust, that sense of community, which we do so well on this show. But it starts with just putting ourselves in the other person's shoes.
Love that. And that ripple effect, that the compound effect, as Ciaran would call it, because he's an accountant, right? It builds up and builds up and builds up, or the ripple effect. A simple thing like giving back just has this ripple effect, and it keeps paying forward, right? So these are
it's
really
like pension planning.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it, start today or 30 years ago.
And it just keeps on giving, right? So let's just give you all a break for a moment. Let's bring Mrs. Moderator back in. How are we doing, Sarah? What's going on in the comments? There's loads going on.
Loads of comments. The actual overwhelming theme is that the consistency of having the show every week helps build that community. People feel included. It's there every week. They now know to expect it. Let's have a look. Ildi.
Good morning, Ildi, one of my mates. Yeah.
Reminds me of the importance of reliability, consistency to nurture relationships.
Yeah.
And
thanks,
Adrian
Ildi.
Chase, most humans love community. It's a human need. And we may have many communities without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And I think for us, obviously there's so much work that goes into the show. And you put it out live, and it makes you feel good. All the comments that we see give you that it's worthwhile feeling. People are enjoying it. They are benefiting from it. They do like it. They do like us. And it makes you feel really good.
It's nice to be loved, right? Everyone wants to be loved.
Everybody wants to be loved. Ralph Moody says the best teams he's ever worked with all gave. In so many teams, you see people pay lip service to it, but they don't believe it. The giver's gain always works.
Spot on. And isn't there? I think there's a book called "Give First Economy." I've forgotten who that's by. Maybe Ian or Ciaran might know that book. Great book. Well worth a read. The Give First Economy, which is exactly what Ralph's saying there. So, anything else, Sarah?
Quick shout out to say hello to Jack Wright. Nice to see you commenting.
Jack, brilliant.
Previous sponsor.
Yeah.
You see, even people, when they're sponsors, they still love us and join in, which is fantastic.
It's great to see you, Jack.
It is. I think Maria Jeffers' comment is worth highlighting. She says, I love the familiarity of seeing the same faces on the show. It used to feel like everyone at work had a fake professional front on. And she started to think it was her being that way, not necessarily others. The business world used to confuse me in my 20s. I'm not really a business person. It's not how I see myself. She says she loves helping people. And as Ciaran says, there is a selfish component as it helps her too.
What a lovely comment.
Brilliant. But when you say, well, I'm not really a business person, I disagree. I think you're out there doing it. And we all have different things to bring to it. And it's not necessarily, we have a mindset, don't we, of how people should behave in business. And I think this goes a long way to going, no, let's sling those out the window and let's reframe it. So,
it's an interesting opportunity just to come in on that. I think there's an element of everyone has a day job and a technical skill set or expertise that they build up. But the know, like, and trust scale sometimes doesn't want to know the technical detail. You actually want to know the person behind it. So,
that's right.
I mean, I ended up doing I'm in awe of doing stuff live because Andrew is just, and Sarah, every week you manage to deal with technical issues and stuff. We don't even know what's going on. But I started doing videos where I kind of did one and it just got a positive response. And I did a second one, did a third one, did a fourth one. And most of the content of my beach talks was not technical stuff. It was just a story or an analogy or something, just maybe to break down the subject. But I think it was doing two things. It was breaking down a subject for CEOs and people who were starting companies. But I think in parallel, when I look back at it, it was breaking down me to actually not be technical and not be this defensive business person, which is going head to head on technicalities. You don't have to fight. There's loads of experts in this field. You don't have to be the best one. You just have to let people know who you are, and if they like, know, trust, you, or just build that connection, you're more likely to you don't have to transact with them ever, but they get you. You're into their network just at a much higher level than just purely being connected on LinkedIn. So it was a parallel journey, really, of doing the camera stuff. But I think over time, if you do, the more and more of this you do find your authentic self. And it sounds really fun, but the first time you appear on camera, every muscle is tight. and it's not you.
Yeah, got that camera blinking at you.
Exactly. And if you meet the person for a coffee afterwards, they'll go, you're more relaxed now than you were on camera.
Yeah.
And you can have the alternative where people overact on camera. And when you meet them, it's like, this isn't the person I've been watching and invested all my time in. So there's something nice about the show that I think everyone on the show actually turns up as themselves and can be themselves.
And that's what I want.
People in the feed are themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that authentic self as well builds the know, like, trust element in all of us, rather than, I'm not a trained actor. I mean, I can't do that stuff, but I can be myself a little better than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And I prepared this little enriched thinking diagram here. This is actually an NLP model called neurological levels, which I've just adapted a little bit. And it's really interesting, when we're looking at, Ciaran and Rebecca and Iain, we've all talked about this importance of connection and helping people. And the other thing that's going on here is that it's not about, these aren't conversations about, the environment that we're in. They're not necessarily about our behaviors, or certainly not about our skills and experience and our knowledge. There's something much more fundamental going on here when we're building connections and building relationships. And I've separated the top and the bottom part of this triangle with this thick wavy line, as I've called it. And that thick wavy line is the difference that makes the difference, where when we can start to have conversations about know, love and trust, or know, like and trust, which are about what do we value, what are our beliefs, what are the common things that glue us together, who am I and who are you? So it's not about what we do, it's about who we are and how we turn up, our authentic self. And that's about being proud of our identity and having a conversation around the person we are and the person that is on the other side of us, that we're looking at and talking to and relating to, and really getting to know them. And, being curious, as Rebecca does so well, is, being curious about that other person and digging in a little bit. And then together, you find some sort of common purpose that is, that arrives in the conversation. It might not have been there at the first point, but because you're conversing at that level, folks, I
love that, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. That it brings in that,
and being revealed, right? That's
revealed. That's the word. Beautiful. Yeah, and I think that's where these conversations are. And building connection isn't just about what we do and about the environment we work in. Or it's not. It's about bigger things than that. But it's fundamental. It's about our authenticity, about genuineness, about an interest in human beings, and just being human and connecting with you. There's a lot in the chat about that.
And I think the hardest part there, Andrew, I think, again, you and everyone in this room and people that have been part of the community recognize this, but you've led this, is the vulnerability. So one of my heroes is Brené Brown, and she talks about vulnerable leadership. Yeah. And that vulnerability to be authentic gives permission for other people, again, consciously and subconsciously, to be vulnerable back. And Ciaran, I think this is that sort of like, you make a connection, and then it's, well, you know the Seth Godin stuff, and then it's this connection part. Yeah. That's that vulnerability to connect to a much deeper level. And I think more than ever, companies like Google have got this for years, which is, that's the thing that makes the difference. You talk about the difference that makes the difference within any team, any community. You have to have that vulnerability, and somebody has to lead that. And having that means that you can turn up. If I can turn up more as my authentic self, then you can turn up more as your authentic self. And the other thing that's banging around here, which again, Andrew will know about, I was brought up in South Africa for a time, so big shout out again to Tilly, who's on the system here.
Whoop, whoop.
I was trilingual for a time, very small time, and unfortunately not now. But one of the words or phrases, the Zulu phrase that I got to know very well, which is Sawubona, which is I see you. I see you. And it's this authenticity about I see you. And I think the power here is the refrain has a response, which is Yebo Sawubona, which is yes, I see that you see me. Yeah. And I think there's something, again, Ciaran, I love the way he talked about revealing ancient wisdom in a sense, because I think this is exactly what's happening. We are meant, built, evolved for community and interaction. Yeah. And having that, I see you, you see me, something much bigger happens as a result of getting that community.
Beautiful.
And particularly when you've got that consistency, which people are talking about, the consistency and the reliability.
Challenge to Andy Grace to spell that word. So as he's drawing that out,
yes, draw it.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll just come on to him in a moment. There's something in the comments which might be useful just to bring in right now, and then we're going to bring somebody else in. We'll bring Rebecca in for a moment. Sarah, there's a comment. Is there something by Fraser here that might be useful just to pick up Fraser's comment here, if we can?
Yes. Before we do, I'm going to say there's a lovely comment about Rebecca. This is from Ralph Moody. Rebecca is probably the best giver on the planet. She also has the brain the size of a planet in knowing how business should work. A fantastic connection. So I thought that was lovely. And I'm going to give a shout out to Mel, who is listening for the first time on Facebook.
Mel.
I would be really interested, Mel, if you could tell us how did you come across us and why did you tune in?
Lovely. Yeah, thanks, Mel. We'd love to hear that.
So Fraser's comment is back to basics, I'm afraid. We need to know, live, I think, like and trust ourselves and colleagues first and foremost by overcoming ignorance, apathy, fear, blame, excuses and denial.
Yeah. Now let's bring in the mighty Rebecca on this one, because this is something that she's very active on. Rebecca, look, we're talking about difficult situations here and, developing people and, is it possible to use know, like and trust then in conflict or disagreement or in developing, people around us, our team? Let's go on to that.
Oh, such a good question, Andrew. I think
Fraser's got it there, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Ralph and Fraser. That's such a good point. But, if we've created this culture of this environment where our teams feel safe, that psychological safety, and we really encourage that feedback, and we want our teams to tell us, share with us, when they're feeling down, or if we're the leader, when we're not feeling on par, then when we get a conflict or a difficult situation to deal with, we've done that in an environment of support and care and love. And it's just so much easier to deal with, isn't it? Because we're wanting that feedback. I heard this yesterday and I thought it would be good to share this. Somebody said to me, if I had some spinach in my teeth, would you tell me? And I said, yeah, of course I would. And then they said, okay, so if you met me at a meeting and my flies were down by mistake, I just
knew that was coming. Yeah.
Would you tell me? And I said, yeah, of course I would. And then they said, okay, so you've been working with me all day, you've been sitting next to me, and I stink.
Oh.
So would you tell me? And, that's like, if you've got that know, like, and trust with your team, of course, you're going to be saying, hey, you need to go have a wash, or the spinach is in your teeth. And it's, when you've got a conflict situation, if you've got that know, like, and trust, it's so much easier to deal with. So I'd just like to share another story with you where
please, yeah.
There is no love, there is no like, and trust at all. And I sent an email to a business recently. They don't know me and I don't know them. I'd done my research. I sent them an email and I got this most shocking, the worst ever response back. It was so rude. It was just so explicit and it was so rude that I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to react to this? There is no like or trust here at all. What am I going to do? And the advice was, it might be nice to ask the audience, what would you do if you got this really rude email back? But the advice was, don't go there. Don't speak to them. They're just rude. You don't want to work with people like that. And I thought, well, they don't know me. I don't know them. Perhaps we should have a conversation.
Wow.
Which we did. And I think it goes back to my point I made earlier, and that we're all saying here, you've got to step into the other person's shoes. You don't know what's going on in their life. And in this particular case, I had this amazing conversation. He's got a lot going on in his life. He's a really, really nice individual. And we never know what's going on, do we? We never know what might be causing that conflict, what might be causing that response. We've got to put ourselves in the other person's shoes and try and understand what's going on in their life.
Love that. And walk a mile in their shoes as well, Rebecca, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, walk in their shoes, be with them, be empathetic to their situation, try and understand and help them. So
I love that, yeah.
Conflict, when you've got that know, like, and trust, is so much easier to deal with. So you've got to build that to begin with. But when you don't have it, what do? Then you reach out to the other person and try and kind of understand what's going on in their life. What caused them to react like that? What caused them to respond in that way?
Yeah, what's going on for them? I've just picked up this. We'll just bring in Sarah a minute on the feed, because there's some interesting bits going on the feed right now. So let's just, while you're on that topic, let's just bring Sarah back in. Sarah,
which one did you pick up?
There's something from a Facebook user. I think Fraser's replying as well, which might be quite interesting to pick his stuff up as well.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so interestingly, Mel said she switched on by mistake.
Oh, hello. Right, yeah, great. Well, there we go.
Talking about community, and actually carried on listening. So
there you go. Yeah,
good to know.
Brilliant.
Stefan Wetterling.
Oh, hello, Stefan. Yeah, he bought me 5 coffees just to let you know, folks.
There we go. So, I think what's important is that when we're building a future where most people are hiding behind messaging and not speaking, you see kids on Snapchat and they're all very on social media. It's about putting ourselves out there and actually celebrating when we get to talk to a real person.
And not a chat bot, right? Brilliant. Yeah.
What would you say, Ian, in that situation where you get a very angry response just from something that you've done with goodwill and good intention?
You're on mute, Ian, for some reason. Have I put you on
stop
mute?
The dog, she was barking.
Oh, I see. It was the dog. It was you that was barking, was it? Your
real
end.
show, guys. I think,
a real show, real dog.
Community.
Yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely spot on, Rebecca. I think, but with a caveat, and the caveat as a coach is very much around having an awareness, in a sense that people come into a space, in your space, interacting with you, and the interaction we're having is a bit like this iceberg, right? So the iceberg is that we're having interaction in a very small period of time and space, and that's the top end of the iceberg. And we all come into a space with everything else that's going on. Now, having empathy and understanding, I think, is good to have that awareness, but I would say refrain from taking responsibility for other person's
spot on
below the surface stuff, right? And I think that's really important, because I think the danger can be, and I've certainly fallen foul of this, I wanted to be the rescuer, let me rescue you from the situation, but then you're taking on a whole load of stuff that's not necessarily yours to carry, and you're not necessarily helping that other person either through that process, because for the things they need to learn before they do them, they need to learn by doing them themselves, right? So I absolutely, it's having an awareness, and it's not my responsibility to take on all the baggage. If you're coming into this space and not interacting well with the message that I've given out with good intent, it's not my fault. Because I've genuinely put it out in the way that I can put it out. And I think the hard thing is, again, bravery of Andrew and all the contributors over the sort of sessions, over the different programs for Leaders Live, is that when we put stuff out, people will quickly pick up on that. And as a contributor just said, they can hide slightly, if I may say so, behind certain messaging if they want to be critical. And the way in which certain brains work, by the way, is to be able to be critical. And I get that, and to pick up stuff, and to find those sort of people generally, and it's not their fault, will find it harder to be more creative. But we've got to be careful here about, taking on the responsibility or taking on the negativity or seeing it as personal when people can't or won't interact with us on that kind of very real way, the way in which we're trying to put out and go, we're trying to do our best thing. One of the things that we talk about is that I think, as well as coaches, is, you can't be liked by everybody. In fact, if you do anything worthwhile, there's a good chance in life that you're going to have a negative reaction, and that's okay, because we're wired for community, and community is finding our flock. It's finding, as Jen Smith would say, it's finding your flock, which I wrote about in the book. You know, find your flock, find the people that are beautifully and weirdly and wonderfully creatively, you know, made, and that you resonate with, and you'll know who those people are. They're the people that resonate in the same kind of, you know, wacky, brilliant kind of way or quiet way that you have. And again, I think that's a recognition that, you know, it's not your responsibility to take on the responsibility of other people for not getting the fact that you resonate at a certain frequency and that they resonate at another one. That's
I love
fine.
that, Iain. And it sounds like, yeah, don't rescue, but actually what Rebecca's doing is she's being the grown-up in this particular situation, raising the game. So kind of going, okay, look, we can have a conversation down here, but I prefer to have a conversation up here. Can I get you up here? And that takes quite a lot.
I love
to
the
do
Rebecca's
that.
talking about invitation. I love that, Rebecca, and the way you just said that, Andrews.
Yeah.
Can I invite you to a different way of seeing, a different way of being in this relationship?
Indeed.
And an invitation can be rejected, and it has to be an open.
Indeed. But you're inviting them to do that, and in the same thing, Rebecca, you're putting on your big person pants there and taking the conversation up to that level. Now, if the person can take that, then you're more likely to get an apology as well. What say you, Rebecca?
Well, we did get to an apology.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, kind of 99% of an apology, which was good enough, you know.
Yeah, indeed.
And,
absolutely. Yeah.
We're having great conversations going forward, but
interesting. So you broke the back of that.
It's such a good point, though, Ian, isn't it? I'm not taking on. We can't take on the other person's burden or what's going on in their life. We can give a nod to it. We can understand it. We can be empathetic towards it. But let's have better conversations. And I think it's back to that diagram, Andrew. It's enriched conversations. It's
enriched conversation.
Thinking.
There it is. Yeah.
Moving it up. If we all have a little bit of responsibility of trying to move that conversation up, we'll get to much more exciting conversations, more interesting, we'll connect better, we'll develop that know, like, and trust.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. Let's just bring in Andy for a moment, because Andy's been scribbling away, and I bet you his hand is really aching right now. Andy, how you doing? Look at that beautiful drawing.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting there.
Well, you are, isn't that gorgeous?
Okay.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Trying to capture everything. This one that you just talked about, the image I'm using is three hands supporting each other.
Yeah. So three things make a strong tie, right?
Yeah. As a rev, one of the things I like to tell people is a strand of three chords is not easily broken.
Indeed.
So, and if you do magic, because I know there might be the magician chap on here at the moment. One of the things that you can do is you can get in a quad and you can support people in a really amazing way and take chairs away, and they're supporting each other. Wow. And then they fall over, which is brilliant. But at first they're supporting each other. So.
And they fall over together, right?
Yeah. That's the one.
Any thoughts on that, Ciaran, while we're just looking at this wonderful drawing that Andy's doing for us?
Oh, well, I'm blown away by Andy's talent.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it's one of those reminders, I guess, that I mean, I work in the technical world of finance, but creativity is just a great opportunity for everybody to nurture and embrace, because it can build connections, really rich, deep connections. Like, for example, my target clients are not finance people. I don't need an echo chamber of more of me.
Yeah.
And if I go in talking about my subject, it turns everybody off. And just watching Andy's magic at work here, I think everyone does have some creative side that they can nurture, and it can build connections. Like for me, it's with sales, marketing, product people, tech people. They're all in their space doing their thing, and it's not for me to go in, talking about what I feel I'm strong at. It's nothing to do with that. It's actually other subjects, and trying to be creative to just build a relationship around like Andy, for example. I'm sure we'd all go and listen and sit and listen to Andy give a sermon, but we can see his creativity of how he is working right now on screen live. It does build the know, like, and trust factors quite.
I completely agree. And your beach talks just do that beautifully. Ciaran, you've done about 50 odd of those beach talks, probably more by now, and they're nothing about finance, but they're everything about finance, right? Just brilliant.
Well, I was going to say, it is worth just reminding that I do fluff a line of I'm walking back down the beach. So it's not like a live here where it's so carefully, expertly produced and put together. I stuff it up quite often. I'm going back down the beach. I shoot it one take. So if I get it wrong, but I've become better at actually just keep it going. Doesn't matter. It's fine.
Absolutely. Just keep
put a
it going.
comment in. It's you. So I think actually it encourages you not. Things can't be too perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Quite right.
Just embrace the imperfections.
And I think
otherwise you're not authentic.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's one of my friends, Kathy Hart. She's a vocal coach, and she was saying about how she was looking. I can't remember which singer was it. I don't think it was Beyonce or it might be Beyonce, Shakira, one of those groups of kind of people. And she was saying that when they've been critiqued, and producers have worked with them, and they then want to. So I think say it was Beyonce. She wanted to change the tone or have it engineered so that the sound sounded more perfect. And by the way, if I've got the name wrong, please don't sue me, Beyonce. But actually it was very much about, I think it was Shakira. Anyway, the thought was, this is the thought. It was the imperfection, the way in which that voice slightly started to break that made the connection. And I think this is
that's the empathy piece, right, Ian? You're picking up the emotions of what's going on.
And it's the vulnerability that's important here.
Indeed, spot on.
So I think, Ciaran, what you've picked up on there is, I think, partly being vulnerable and leading oneself in that it's okay because I'm being more authentic to who I am. And then the other part is then you're again inviting this connection from other people.
Yeah, like it. And that whole empathy piece there, you've just teased out that nicely. Listen, we're just marching to the end of time at the moment, not literally, but the end of this show's time. It's the end of time. Sarah, what's going on in the chat? Let's just see what's going on.
Right, well, I'm very conscious of time, but Sarah Howson has put a lovely quote on. It's by someone called Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Love that.
One of my favourite quotes. Well said, Sarah.
Yeah, so I think that's a good note to finish on for the chat bits.
Yeah,
really.
and Sarah and Marianne are on the show not next week, but the week after, talking about executive assistants in business. So, and they are a brilliant dynamic pair of individuals. So, can't wait to have them on the show. So, thanks for being here today. Anything else, Sarah, you just want to pick up before we move on?
No, I think we'll just draw it to a close, probably. Okay.
Well, while we're here, I think with this conversation we've had today, it deserves one of these, doesn't it? Hey, confetti bomb! Yeah. So that was amazing. Yeah, and we are literally running out of time right now, and we could go on for ages. We got lots of questions lined up, but that's the way it is on live. So and we've got the amazing Paul Brown, who's our magician friend, who's just turned up as well. So wow, looking good, he says. Nice to see you, Paul. That's lovely.
I think that comment was aimed at Andy's drawing. Not
indeed. That all right? True. Yeah, true. There you go. Yeah, nothing to do with the show. It's all to do with Andy. There we go, Andy. Some praise for you, indeed. Brilliant, fantastic. There we go. Yeah, thanks for that.
We have this picture. I'm presuming this will come on LinkedIn somewhere.
Yeah, it will do. Actually, Paul has said, can we get a copy of the drawing? I would love it as a background for my laptop. I'm sure Andy will make that available to us. If you can give us a nod, that would be great. Yeah, there you go. Thumbs up from you.
Can we buy Andy a coffee as well? For that?
Can we buy Andy a coffee? Yeah, I think if he's got a link, we should buy Andy a coffee. Absolutely. Well said, Mr. Price, Dr. Price. So there we go. Yeah, so just a quick reminder, Leaders Live, look, it's a free show, folks, for directors, managers, entrepreneurs who are interested in business growth through entertainment and enjoy taking part in these extraordinary conversations. And boy, have we had one of those today, hey, folks? So, we just want to bring that spirit of freedom, of joy, of love and fun, and that feel-good factor to all our working lives. That's what this show's all about, and that's why we do this lovingly, regularly. So that's what we're doing. Just before we go on to the Goosh next week, Sarah, just take us away a little bit on some Leaders Live stuff,
Yeah, just a reminder. So, Mel, if you enjoyed listening to us on Facebook, you can always subscribe. Then you won't miss another episode.
Yeah, subscribe, please.
If you're listening for the first time, we really hope you enjoyed it. Again, there is so much more content that Andrew gives away if you subscribe. You also get a nice little email first thing in the morning to remind you of the show. So it's an easy link if you struggle to find what platform to listen to us on. So yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? So 100 shows. If you've enjoyed it, tell all your friends.
Yeah. Tell all your friends,
subscribe. Folks. Let's start broadening out the network and, see how many more people we can get on.
Thank you. Yeah. And if you've got any themes, that you want us to present, get in touch with us and tell us, what would you like to hear about? It's much your show as it is ours. So, if you've got any ideas of show content, please let us know. That would be fantastic. And so that's, we're going to say goodbye in a moment. We're just going to do the confetti bomb again. So we've loved having you all on the show. Thank you very much. Thank you to our guests, Rebecca and Ciaran and Dr. Iain Price and Andy Gray for his magnificent sketches there. Let's give us a bow, Andy, and thank you very much indeed for... Hey, there we go. So there's a lot of love in the room for you on this one. So thank you. And the goose for next week is next week's Tuesday slot, 13th of June, 08:45 a.m. UK time. We're going to talk to Jane Vincent, a recruiter, talent attraction specialist, headhunter, director, co-founder of 410 People. And our theme is about unraveling the secrets of recruitment success. Oh, so there we go. That's what we've got. Oh, wow. And so we've got all that lot to come. I meant to press the O button there, but there you go. And so what's we'll be looking at, what's changed since Brexit, and COVID, not that long ago, but the world of recruitment has changed massively. Why do businesses need to change? What do we need to do to adapt? What about Generation X and millennials and the indigo children, as we call them, and the 4-day week and hybrid working and flexible working? What avenues can I use to attract talent? Can you use to attract talent? Multiple attraction methods for today's recruitment. And that's where we're going. How can I retain and grow the talent that I've already got? I think these are going to be really interesting subjects. That's where we're heading. We think you're going to love it. So there we go. We can't wait. Be there or be square, folks. We're going to go out to our outro right now. And thank you very much for joining the show. We'll wave goodbye to you from there. Thanks again for all of our guests. Cheers. Now we're going to just wave goodbye to you. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. We're our usual 1 hour, 1 minute or 2 minutes extra. There we go. Almost there. See you again next week for another groovy show. Cheers, folks. Bye for now. See you, everybody. Thanks again for Ghost being our sponsors. Bye for now.